no additional revenue, which, you know, I live in Antelope now. I'm back to the home that we lived in prior, and looking for some place to settle, by the way. Carmichael's very high on my list. I used to be annoyed by the helicopter going by all the time. I'll tell you, that doesn't compare to the unsettlingness of not hearing the helicopter go above. So now I hear it, and I have a whole new appreciation for the helicopter. But it's a tremendous asset. So we're in a place now where we have the numbers. We don't have the strength. We still don't have a comprehensive gang strategy, a street-level narcotics team. We don't have street-level prostitution investigations. We do, you know, we pull those out of our existing staffing to do operations when we need to. But we're at a place of temporary, relative stability, relative to today's day, not 2008 and before. Relative stability. We can actually do things. We can actually, I don't think the threat from the board this year is going to be that we have layoffs. We're going to face our share. We're going to be partners in trying to overcome the county's deficit for this year. But because of our planning, because of the open communication between the interim executive, Steve Zaley, that we have now, that we didn't have back then, we're able to make plans. We're able to amortize some of our decrement over a period of time and ameliorate its effects. So I don't think there'll be layoffs from the county side. I'm still very uncertain and a little bit cautious about the state realignment. For us, that has a couple of pieces. The tax piece, the $12.5 billion tax package that may or may not make it on the ballot, and if it does make it on the ballot, it may or may not pass. That piece for us is relatively small, relatively. It's about $4.5 million of VLF funding, 26.8 positions for us. But I'm making preparations so I can absorb those people back without layoffs if that doesn't pass. I don't have a lot of hope for that, but I may be proven wrong. The other piece, the actual realignment piece that doesn't have to do with the vote, has two pieces for us. Court security, that went to the state once the judges became state officers. That went to the state, and we provide court security under contract now. So pushing that down to the local level, my only concern there is funding. What level of funding are we going to be able to provide a quality product without having to cut our level of staffing? And then the corrections piece that you've all heard a lot about. Number one is the level of funding, and number two is that's going to increase our population by about 1,500 to 2,000 people. So aside from the funding, more fundamentally, where do we put those people? I fight my daily maximum population of 2,432 inmates every single day. It's a constant daily struggle to get them, and by the way, we're under a consent decree, so we can't go above that. So that's a struggle for me every day. Well, the governor's office has actually been quite good at trying to address some of the sheriff's concern. It's only going to be prospective. In other words, there's not going to be a great purging of the jails. It's as people get sentenced that fit that criteria, they just simply will stay local and won't go to the state prison, which will give us time to try and plan for the influx of folks on an incremental basis. And we're just going to have to be more creative on alternative sentencing and how we house and how we treat our prisoners. So I think there's possibilities there. The funding is what they're talking about is something we could accommodate. The levels, I think we will work it out. The governor's office has tried to address some of our concerns. So I'm hopeful that that won't generate any huge problems for us financially for this year as well. So, you know, back to the end of chapter 2, I think we've reached kind of a period of relative stability. Ironically enough, because we were first off the cliff, we were hit as hard or harder than really any other department in the country in relative terms. But because we were first off the cliff, we're in a better place today because of it. We never would have got the full COPS grant award. We likely wouldn't have got the concessions from the union. We wouldn't have got the restoration from the board. We wouldn't have got the things that we got in 2010 to get us to this point. So everything kind of happens for a reason. Which brings me to chapter 3. Well, like I said before, there was an election. I got sworn in as Sacramento County's 36th sheriff on December 10th. And so the Carmichael Chamber, as well as many other chambers, Carmichael Chamber specifically hosted a couple of different debates and forums. So I had the opportunity to talk about the vision I had for the department. So for those of you that were there or remember, you know, paid attention to the election, some of this will be kind of regurgitating. But hopefully it'll be reaffirming in the sense that the things I'm saying now are still the same things I was saying beforehand to get elected. And the main thing we have to do is stop looking for resource solutions. It was easy for us 10 years ago to go to the board and if we had a problem, to seek a resource solution. I have a crime spike and here's how I'm going to handle it. I need 10 officers and 10 motorcycles. We go to the board would give us 10 officers and 10 motorcycles, and we go solve that problem. And it would work, we'd solve the problem. Well, guess what? We still have the same problems. We just don't have the same access to solutions. Our solutions aren't going to be resource driven. So how are we going to solve the same problems we've always had? Well, we got to stop looking for money and look in the mirror and figure out what we can do internally, how we can be more efficient, how we can be more engaged with the public, how we can regionalize efforts. Regionalization's been a big one for me. I told you we got the helicopters back in the air, but that's part of the story. Before I even got the helicopter back in the air, I sat down and had a conversation with the city police department. I said, look, you have a helicopter, we have a helicopter. We both need helicopters in the air for certain times, but we don't need both of our helicopters in the air. So we worked out a cooperative flight schedule for our helicopters. They're up, we're down, they're up. So for 14 hours a day, 7 days a week, there is a helicopter in the air that's a regional asset for all county law enforcement. And all of our discussions have been that way. We have funding and we have plans for a 911 call center that's long overdue for us. And the funding and everything's already been set historically. Well, now we're talking about, hey, city police department, you have a 911 call center that's about 5 years old. We need built-in redundancies for comm centers to make sure they work properly all the time. Why not have a joint comm center? So now we both have 2 new 911 call centers. So we're in those discussions right now. And we've invited all the smaller agencies to join this in with us. Bandwidth for radios. These are regional discussions. Everything we do, I meet with all the chiefs on a large group once a month, and then I meet with just the chiefs of police. There's 7 cities in Sacramento County. Just the chiefs of police and me would meet for coffee, very informal. That's where we get things done, and we have those discussions. The extraordinary financially dire times we find ourselves in have given rise to extraordinary opportunity. Police, like fire, are two industries that are encumbered by history. You know, we call it tradition, but it's really an encumbrance. There's really no way for us to completely shift the way we do business, except for times like these. So I'm not looking at the challenge without recognizing the opportunity we have, and that's the opportunity to do things better, to be more engaged. I'm reaching out to the public like we've always talked about doing, but we've never done before. I'm creating a faith-based advisory board. I'm creating a business advisory board. I'm doing things that, you know, arguably we should have or could have been doing all along, but now out of economic or practical necessity, we have the opportunity to do, and it will make a difference. And my message back to my people is, look, we are not growing. We are not getting and growing to get back to where we were, to restore programs in the reverse order in which we took them away. We're never going to look like we did 2 years ago, but we will look like something different, something better. We will have resources again when we're able to grow, mostly in near term for internal efficiencies and being able to free up resources and redeploying them where we need them. But in the longer term, we will have better times financially. We will be able to grow, but we'll be more methodical, more deliberate as we grow to something different. So it's been a difficult, no one likes change, and cops hate it worst of all. So it's been a difficult message to try and convey. Some of the things we're doing internally is I've developed an annual planning process where everyone inside and outside the department can see what our priorities are year by year, timeline, who owns the project, and at the end of the year that those things got done. We just got our 2011 strategic plan online and going. I'm doing a top-down, division-by-division audit. Have the county inspector general go to each of my divisions and tell me, because I want to know where I need to go, but I need to get a good snapshot of where I am, where my sores are, where my black eyes are, where my efficiencies lie that I can take advantage of. So he's in the process, we've started that. I've moved all my captains around to give that sense of movement and momentum that our department's been lacking over the last couple of years. And I'm doing something unusual we've never done, is I'm moving all my lieutenants too, rotating all my lieutenants. In fact, for the first time I told the captains, let me know whose lieutenants you want, but one rule, you can't bring the guy with you, you just left. So everybody's looking at things in a new way as I get towards some of that internal mentoring and leadership development and some of the things and some of the expectations that we've been so focused on just bailing water out of the ship, the little things as I call them, but in reality they're very big things. We've lost sight of, and I'm trying to get back on that. So that part is chapter 3, and the end of chapter 3 really hasn't been written yet, but I wanted to let everybody know kind of where chapter 3 starts and where we're going. So that's what I wanted to say. I'm happy to entertain any questions or cheap seats.
I understand that you may be taking over the control of the American River Parkway and the county parks. Can you please comment on that?
Well, that's not entirely true. You know, part of Steve Zaley, the interim county executive,